Let's do it. What's going on, my friends? Cubs fan Han back again for a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video, and today I am joined by the one, the only, the meme lord himself, the Empire lover, AhnaldT101. What's going on, Arnold?
Thanks for having me on the show. It's been fantastic. We're gonna do a farming guide.
Get to the farming guide.
Get to the farming guide. Come on. Get to the chopper. Come on. He's in the Cantina Store. Come on.
So when you guys start playing Galaxy of Heroes, we're going to talk about this from a beginner standpoint, but this will also have application to all of you guys out there who have been farming a bunch of these characters. But if you're like me, when I started farming in this game, I saw all of these stores and I went, where do I start with all of these characters? You've got your Cantina Store, you've got your Arena Store, you've got your Galactic War Store, and there's a bunch of character shards in there, and it can be kind of hard to organize which character shards you're going to farm first. So today, Arnold and I have been slaving over every single character that you can farm in every single store, and we are going to rank them for you so that you can have a guide on which characters you should approach first and why. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with the Cantina, and the way that I've got this spread out is in tiers. So you're going to see tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 is going to be what you want to focus on the most, and then tier 2 and 3 are going to be kind of secondary to that. So looking at tier 1, some characters that stand out to me in here that we put in tier 1. First of all, we got Boba Fett in here, and Boba Fett isn't necessarily going to be the best end game player for like squad arena, but when you start the game out, you really need to have him for the credit heist.
Right, credit heists are really important. That's where you're going to get a lot of your free credits, and getting a decent free-to-play scoundrel team to conquer that bounty, the whole credit heist, that'll help your progression a lot at the beginning, because at one point credit heist didn't exist and there was a credit crunch, but now you want to try to get on that as fast as possible, get to the highest tier, and Boba Fett will get that job done for you.
Credit heist is huge. You need to farm a credit heist team. A lot of the characters that you're going to farm for credit heist aren't necessarily going to be characters you really want to farm, but they're necessary. So farm them until you can do that last tier of the credit heist, and then feel free to drop them. Qui-Gon Jinn is here for Yoda, I think. Let's see. First Order Officer is one that you really need for BB-8. And Chopper is somebody you need for Thrawn. So I think all those characters are good. But one that we really debated on was Stormtrooper. Yeah. Because he's not necessarily the best character. He works in an Empire team, which is going to be more end game. But he's one of the easiest characters to get for R2-D2, which is Empire.
That's kind of what it came down to. I mean, after his rework, he got a lot better. He's beefy, he's tanky, and he works great in Imperial Trooper team, great in an Empire team. But we tried to keep this in mind. For beginner people, if you can get R2 as early as possible, you're well on your way to doing well in the game. And Stormtrooper is one of the easiest free-to-play Empire characters you can farm right at the very beginning once you have access to Cantina. So definitely,
and even if you get R2 at 5 stars, like that, if you're just starting out and you've got R2-D2 at 5 stars, you're going to be ahead of the game.
Exactly. So that's why he's up there. Might not be the best character overall, but he's a really easy character to get R2 as early as possible.
Great, and then looking at tier 2, I'm not sure if you have any takeaways from this. I think Jawa Scavenger, it's kind of nice to have for crit damage mods. I don't think it's that essential. Ahsoka for Yoda, nice.
Yeah.
Hoth Rebel Scout, your guilds are going to want you to farm him.
Exactly. He's just
for
necessary for territory battles. I mean, he's not a great character at all, but the only reason why he's tier 2 is because he's kind of needed for territory battles, and a lot of guilds look for that. And all these characters are really optional. Java Scavenger, the crit damage mods, there's only 5 Jawas, and you need 5 Jawas, and Java Scavenger is one of those 5. And Ahsoka Tano is totally optional, but she's a really easy Jedi you can get at the beginning to get Grandmaster Yoda as early as possible.
Pow is in tier 3.
How's that possible? How is that possible? He's the most broken character in the game.
He needs a nerf.
He needs a nerf. He needs to be deleted out of this game for good.
You know, I sent you in our main comments video, I sent you on a campaign trail.
Oh, yes.
For the nerf of POW. How's your campaign been going?
Oh, it's going well. We have about 3.5 signatures, and we're well on our way to 1 million.
I heard your biggest opponent is McMull, too. So.
Oh, man, it's a tough race. It's a tough race. We'll find out who wins the electorate, so stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for more. All right. Taking a look at the guild store. Now, we really debated on Stark in here.
Yeah.
Because I'm still not sure if he's supposed to be tier 1 or not, but this is the only place you can get this guy.
Exactly. Only place to get him. I mean, I have him at 6 stars gear level, and I absolutely love Stark. For people who are endgame, it really helps out for Night Sisters. He's necessary for dark side territory battles, and I think he does have a lot of uses, but it's mainly for Empire teams. And
Right.
not first order, the Imperial Troopers aren't really that accessible at the beginning, so it's more of an end game character. But there's a lot of other characters that probably take over Stark at the very beginning of your journey in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
I think Rex is going to be probably the best free-to-play leader at the very beginning of the game.
And non-legendary too. That's something.
And he's
really
non-legendary. You guys, Rex seems to be one of those characters that has stood the test of time.
Oh yeah.
Almost more than anybody from a free-to-play perspective, and not including the raid characters. I think General Kenobi's kind of in that discussion, but you need to get to a heroic tank guild to even think about him when you're starting out. So I think Rex is probably one of the best leaders you could go for at the beginning of the game.
Cleanse, great overall leader. You could use him for the Rancor raid. Rex would probably be my #1 choice to get out of the guild store. If you're going there for the first time, Rex tackles out so many different categories for you.
And he fits in so many teams. You really don't. I mean, there's so many different characters. You do not need to run Rex with clone troopers. Nobody runs Rex with clone troopers, in fact.
No one. Unless you love them. That's pretty much the only reason why to use them. Yeah. But a lot of other
fangirl, you know.
Yeah, that's really it. That's it. You love your Commander Cody, but that's pretty much it.
Now, we really need to see Luke Skywalker and Old Ben. These are going to be pretty important because if you guys don't know this already, Commander Luke Skywalker he's kind of a decent character, incidentally.
Yeah.
He's okay.
Just decent, yeah.
Pow's a bit better, but Commander Luke is somebody.
Yeah.
No, Commander Luke is incredible. You need to have Commander Luke, and Old Ben and Luke Skywalker Farm Boy are some of the only characters that you need to have for him. So we definitely highly recommend farming them ASAP.
And the good thing about Old Ben, I've said this for the longest time, if you don't have General Kenobi, I honestly think Old Ben is the direct replacement for General Kenobi for those who don't have him. He's been amazing since his reworks. He has the taunt, he has the mind tricks, and he gives you a bunch of buffs when he dies off. So really good. And for people who don't have General Kenobi, Old Ben is the obvious answer in my opinion.
Old Ben is fantastic. He's great on defense, too. He's genuinely good on defense. So
a lot better than before, that's for sure.
All right, taking a look at Tier 2. We've got a lot of characters in Tier 2 here.
Yeah.
I don't know where to begin. What are some of your takeaways?
First of all, a lot of these Tier 2 characters, I would highly recommend farming them in other locations. For example, B2 Super Battle Droid. That's really what it comes down to, is just are these characters in other locations? Same thing, for example, let's see, we have I'm a Gundai. You can farm him somewhere else, I believe. But characters that are kind of important are, I would say, Maul. If you want to build a Sith team, Maul is definitely one of the best leaders out there, and he's great for territory wars. Jawa Engineer, same reason for Jawa Scavenger. Only 5 Jawas, and if you want critical damage mods, which are, in my opinion, the second or third best mod set in the game, you're going to need him. And then Jyn Erso, amazing for territory battles, and one of the best free-to-play early characters you can get to tackle the Rancor raid and do your first solos.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point that you hit on there, is that some of these characters might be really great to have. I mean, I think especially like Kylo Ren, he is a really good character to have early on. But he's just so much easier to get in the Cantina.
Precisely.
And so some of these characters, we're not necessarily ranking them on how good they are, but on whether or not this is where you should farm them or not.
That's pretty much what it comes down to. Yeah, and I told you I'm going to share this link with you, but there's a website already. It already has a Google Doc, and it shows you the optimal location to farm characters, because characters will have multiple locations, and this spreadsheet, and hopefully Cubs fan gives you a quick example, but it shows you where the best place to farm characters. And Kylo Ren, as you'll see on this sheet, it does not recommend farming him out of the guild store. So just a good resource, I think, to kind of pair along with what you're doing here.
Yeah, and I'm showing that on the screen right now, and go ahead down in the description below. You can catch a link to that. This is a fantastic guide. It's comprehensive. It really goes into the details that you wouldn't necessarily think unless you're thinking about the level at a nerd level like us.
We're doing the work for you, so you don't have to worry about it.
We do the hard work. All right, look at the Squad Arena store. So this one is, we got a couple Commander Luke Skywalker characters here too, Leia and Stormtrooper Han. So fortunately, they're both pretty easy to get. Stormtrooper Han, now fortunately as well, Stormtrooper Han at least is one of the best beginner tanks. Whenever he's taunting, he feeds your whole team turn meter. That's really nice to have. He could be a bit tankier, but he has a lot of functionality beginning of the game, and he's also somebody you can use in the credit heist. So Stormtrooper Han might be the first character you want to farm here.
Yep, I totally agree. Stormtrooper Han, I mean, back then he wasn't that amazing, but I did Sidious as my first, but the game has changed drastically. And if I was starting the game over, most likely Stormtrooper Han or Kanan would be one of the first 2 characters I would farm in this game.
Absolutely, and you definitely need Kanan for Thrawn.
Yes.
Ventress is in here. You don't really need Ventress for anything, but guys, Ventress is amazing. She's one of the best characters in the game. If you use her with Night Sisters, I think she deserves to be tier 1. But for a lot of you, if you're not really interested in farming Night Sisters, if that's not something that's on your radar, you might bump her down to tier 2 or 3 for you, just because you're not going to be utilizing her. But if you are utilizing her as she's intended, she's incredible.
Totally agree. Yeah, Ventress, Night Sisters are really amazing, and Mother Talzin's supposed to be free to play fairly soon. We don't know where she's going to be just yet, but if she's easily accessible, having her paired with Ventress and Old Daka, that's an amazing team you got right there.
Yeah, and if you guys are watching this video months after we post it and Talzin is free to play, then please farm Talzin.
Yeah.
Farm Ventress, especially if she's easy to get. I have a feeling it's going to be a while until Talzin is free to play totally, though, because of how OP she is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hopefully they make her as easy to farm as Kylo Ren unmasked in the Cantina table. We have to wait and see. I don't know if they'll be that generous with Mother Talzin. That'd be beautiful.
I'd love to see that. I'm farming my Talzin even though I only have her at 4 stars, and I just wish I could add those stars to her.
One day.
What? One day.
One day.
Or her name is One Day More. Tier 2. I think that there's some characters to call out in Tier 2. IG88 is here, and he works for the credit heist as well. So I almost feel like IG88 could be pretty important.
Yeah, and at the beginning, too, he does good damage for people. An AoE ability block, that's huge. Imagine having Old Ben and IG88 just spamming ability block on the enemy, and cleansing's not that popular for beginner players. So I would probably get IG88 probably in one of the first 2 or 3 characters you're farming in the squad arena store. I definitely think he has a lot of use, and droids might be better in the future, too. That's something to keep in mind.
All right, and then I do want to call a little bit about Tier 3, because we did debate a lot about this Tier 3, actually, because we got Greedo here. Greedo is a character that you can use in the credit heist. And so, depending on which scoundrels you're going for, Greedo might be a better character for you to go get. We just kind of determined there's better scoundrels around that will get you that credit heist that you can get early. Mace Windu is another one that we thought maybe Mace should be higher because he's got a capital ship, but ultimately we just decided, take a seat, Mace.
Take a seat, Mace. And you're going to get him for free when you unlock ships for the first time. They give you all the shards needed for Mace Windu, and you don't need him at 7 stars to get his ship to eventually 7 stars. And in my opinion, Mace Windu has the worst capital ship in the game, and for beginner players, Tarkin is way better as a fleet commander, better as an overall character, and he's needed for Zeta mats. That's why Mace is so low and Tarkin is so high.
Looking at the Galactic War Store, in Tier 1, we got Cad Bane up here. So Cad Bane, he is here for the credit heist almost exclusively. You're not going to use Cad Bane anywhere else. But when you're starting this game, Cad Bane is going to be great for the credit heist. You need to have Cad Bane.
And he also has stun. He has a repeating basic attack, so he has some use for beginner players. I see him very minor uses for the Rancor rate. He has some turn meter removal, but overall utility, once you get past level 50 and 60, you're not going to really use him in that many areas of the game, I think.
Yep, and I still, to put this in perspective, I've been playing for 2 years. I use my Cad Bane for nothing, but I use him for every credit heist still.
Pretty much.
Day. So
yep,
he's good to have. Captain Phasma is a great beginner leader, kind of up there with Rex for a leader spot. She's got a turn meter gain for the whole team on her victory march.
Bonus
she can apply speed down, which can be good for raids. Great character to have at the beginning of the game.
Yep. Yeah, great overall leader. If you have a bunch of random characters that have no synergy, Captain Phasma, insert her, and everyone starts getting bonus attacks off one another. So she's a good kind of placeholder until you get a much better dedicated leader, I think.
Very much good to have. And then you've got Tebow in here, who's also a good raid character. Kind of a boring farm. I mean, I remember when somebody told me to farm Tebow when I was first starting out. I thought, do I really want to farm this guy? But when you're starting out, he's actually really optimal for the Rancor raid.
Exactly.
Once you get Commander Luke and some of those other more advanced characters, you're going to want to drop Tebow and leave him in the dust. But until then, he's very good to have for the Rancor.
Yeah, that's really it. He has 100% turn meter removal when he's under stealth, and that's really all he's about. He's not an exciting character. I only have him at gear 8, and I'm glad I never invested more into him. You'll eventually get rid of him. We all promise.
Yeah, mine's sitting at gear 9.
Yeah.
No love for Tebow.
Yeah.
No love at all.
Yeah, but Zeb, though, he's on this list for a different reason. Again, you're going to see a lot of Phoenix characters up in the Tier 1 list in Cubs fan Han's video here, mainly because Phoenix is one of the best teams, beginner teams out there, and they're kind of okay mid-game as well. And you need him for Thrawn, you need him for Thrawn's Chimera, and you can also use him for Emperor Palpatine. So that's why you're going to see a lot of Phoenix characters up here, and Zeb is the same reason why he's up here alongside Chopper and Kanan.
And something people don't realize too is actually endgame Phoenix Squad is viable. If you put the Zetas on this team and you mod them properly, they work against almost every meta team. In fact, I featured them in my last anti-meta video where I show these unique compositions that can beat all of these meta teams in the top 50 of their arena shards for experienced season shards. So Phoenix Squad is not a bad investment in any stretch at all. A lot of people don't like the gear. A lot of people don't like the Zetas, but you're going to have that for a lot of teams. So I think Zeb is one of the best investments in the game. All right, moving on to the last shop, we've got the Fleet Arena. Now, something to understand about the Fleet Arena is that the Fleet Arena has a lot of duplicates in it. So for the Fleet Arena, we're going to recommend a lot of characters to farm in other locations other than the Fleet Arena, even though they're great characters to have, you can just get them easier somewhere else. But in our Tier 1, we do have Rex in the Tier 1, and I'm a bit hesitant about that because you can get him in the guild store, but I do feel like he's just such an OP leader to have at the beginning. You might want to speed farm him. You might want to farm him in both places just so you can get him faster. Would you agree, Arnold?
Yeah, we kind of went back and forth on this. I'm someone who's really strict against farming a character in, when there's a better location. But the only reason why we kind of put Rex in here is if you're starting off in the game, you might not get a lot of that guild currency to farm Rex. And if you have the fleet currency, you can kind of double time the farm a little bit in case you don't have access there. You can go to the other spot. But if you're someone that gets enough currency, I might say don't farm Rex in here. But this for beginner players that are hitting level 60, maybe farming Rex in both Guild Store and Fleet Arena is necessary because he's a really great non-legendary free-to-play character.
I think we also debated a bit about Fulcrum Ahsoka Tano, and I think ultimately the reason why I've got her here, and I think she deserves Tier 1, is just this is the only place you can really get her.
That's it.
And she's pretty good. She's not amazing. She's not the best character in the game, but if you utilize her properly, if you can get all of those buffs on her and get a whirlwind off on a character, you can do insane amounts of damage with Fulcrum.
Yep, and she's a rebel, so you can use her for all the various rebel events out there, Emperor Palpatine and so forth. And she does have some minor uses in the end game, but overall, I think for beginner players, she definitely packs a lot of punch and a lot of utility for the beginning. And then she's only farmable here, so you kind of just toss her. She's not a bad character by any stretch of the imagination.
And you guys know you want Vader as soon as possible. I think Vader is a great character to have just because it's Vader in a lot of ways. Yes. It's going to take you a long time to unlock him from achievements.
I'm actually jealous. I had to unlock Vader through the achievements, and once I saw him in Fleet Arena, I'm like, you guys are so lucky. I had to go through all the pain. So yeah, Vader being in there is amazing, especially for the fact that you can, when you get his fleet later on or his ship, having a 7-star Vader really ups the damage and all the stats for that ship. So I think it's definitely good to have Vader.
I'll never forget the day I unlocked Vader. I was like, I have arrived. I am here.
That was probably one of the most exciting days ever, is when you unlock Vader at 4 stars or whatever it was. It's an awesome feeling when you unlock him for the first time.
Now, probably the best character. I would say my top recommendation, the best character to farm out of fleet shipments is Chirrut.
Oh yeah.
This is the best place. It's the only place you can really get him without spending crystals. And Chirrut is incredible. He applies tenacity up. He has a heal component to him. He hits really hard. He's a rebel, so you can use him in all of those events. And when you pair him with Baze, it's just a stupid combo.
Yeah, counter attacks, health over time, and then automatic taunts when he falls. Yeah, again, that's one of those characters I wish I had access to at level 60. He is insanely good. And so if you can, probably make him one of your first priorities or first order TIE pilot. The reason why he's on this list is he's absolutely needed for that BB-8 event. I think he's really important. He's one of the best ships in the game. So that's why first order TIE pilot's up here as well. So, but Chirrut, however you want to say it, I think he's definitely should be a #1 priority here.
And then you guys can see Tier 2 and Tier 3 here. Mostly the reason why a lot of these characters are in Tier 2 is just because you can farm them in different locations. Akbar, you can farm in the arena. Ezra, you can farm easily in Cantina Energy. Poe, you can farm in Cantina shipments. Ahsoka Tano, you can farm her in the Cantina shipments. Biggs in Galactic War. Boba in Cantina. They're everywhere. You got so many places you can farm these guys.
And then you got poor Mace Windu. He still sucks even in fleet shipments.
Take a seat, Mace.
Although I want to say, Grievous being in Tier 3 Seeing that, do you really want to farm him out of the shard shop, and do you want to take the risk that you're not going to have a Grievous when he does get reworked? Because the developers have said in an interview last year he's on the calendar for getting a rework. So I might bump Grievous up a little bit just for future speculation.
I don't think there is anybody in this game who wants a Grievous rework more than AhnaldT101.
July 2016 is when the day started when I asked for a rework, and we're still waiting till this day.
You have a Gear 12, right?
Gear 12. I'm waiting.
He's waiting.
I'm gonna be ready. That was my third Gear 12 character I invested in. I'm like, I'm not gonna miss the opportunity. I'm not gonna be caught with my pants down when his rework comes. I'm saying when because I'm pretty certain it's happening in the next upcoming year.
I think we're gonna start calling you Prophet Arnold. Prophet Arnold, prophesying and preaching of the Grievous rework that is inbound.
Woo! Praise the Grievous. Praise RN Jesus, my friends.
All right, guys, that wraps up our guide on which characters you should farm in which store, tiered 1 through 3. AhnaldT101, thank you so much for joining me for this video. Any parting words of wisdom for our young lost souls out there starting Galaxy of Heroes?
If everybody loved each other, the world would be a better place.
You heard it here first. Love each other. That means love even pow.
But I have one more thing to say. Hanshot.
That felt good. Thank you very much, guys. And don't forget.
My dead body. Sorry about the mess.